family and doctors, telling them, how dangerous this thing is.
Yeah.
So sometimes, we live the life and we're in the life. But we have to sometimes, I haven't been in it that long. I remember, and I still, when I'm eating my stuff, think how crazy it is. So I haven't been in it long enough to not remember how absolutely positively nuts I thought it was that you could just live eating fat and protein.
For sure.
We've been taught from the time we were little kids that that's not healthy.
Yep.
You need fruits and vegetables and grains, and doctors are still telling people that today. You can go to the American Diabetes Association website and look at their recommended diets for diabetics. They're telling them to eat 25% of the diet in carbohydrates. It's crazy.
Right.
So sometimes we have to take a deep breath and just realize that, to the greater society, we still are the crazy ones.
Right.
You know?
But also it's just like that's the average population is a sick society, right? Like
Yeah.
74% of America is sick. So it's a good thing to be an outlier in a society that's 74% plagued with sickness and disease. That's a good thing. You want to be an outlier in that, and
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen,
that race.
You're preaching to a saved man here, but I'm just, when I'm out evangelizing, or even on my channel when I get little things, I'm surprised more so when I get receptive people the first time around.
For
People
sure.
sometimes will come around later. I've had several people. I just had somebody last week that came to me. I didn't even know was watching my channel, didn't even know was paying attention to what I was saying. Come to me and say, after some blood work, and say, hey, my doctor's telling me this, and I've heard you say something different. Take a look at this and tell me what you think, and that sort of thing. So, like I said, man, I'm out in them streets, brother, as all of us are, and it's a sugar sick world, and I'm out there looking to save that sugar sick soul, brother. So I want to talk to the guy with the donut in his hand. I want to talk to people who are still, eating Pop-Tarts and putting pops and popsicles and hot pockets. I want to talk to those people. Those are the people that need to be saved. They're the ones drowning.
They need your help.
It's great to be around the family, but there's not a lot we can do for each other than, me. I'm the village idiot, so I'm just here to crack jokes, make people laugh and stuff like that. But there's nothing I can tell you, man. Hell, you tell me stuff. I mean, you're Captain Carnivore up there, King Kong Carnivore, time to eat eggs by the truckload. And hey, he showed a picture of that mountain of steaks he had in there. What he didn't tell you was he knocked that out Super Bowl weekend. Is this
pretty much? I will tell you this: I did take out 76 or 78 pounds of it in 3 weeks. Took it down.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, he is that guy there. He is that dude. He is him. He is, he's just
what a blessing it is, though, to be able to eat 76 pounds of ribeyes and put on muscle and not gain any fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, man. Like I said, you're preaching to a saved man here. I love it. I'm, me. You and I've talked. I'm taking the slow route. You guys are on the highway. You guys are in the fast lane, in your Maseratis over there. I'm over in the, I'm over on the on the moped of the slow lane. But that's, where I'm at this point. And in fairness, it's important, I think, to designate or to just to share that, I didn't have any of the problems that you guys had.
Right.
Sure. I mean, I didn't have any of those. God bless you guys, man. You guys are superheroes as far as I'm concerned, because I was a happy fat guy, for most of my life. I was Big Daddy, Papi Grande. I was living. I love being the big guy, man. I was a big dog. You know what I mean? I really embraced that, for most of my life. It wasn't until probably the last 10 years, that it started to kind of get away from me. But I didn't have the health problems. I was just heavy. I've never spent a night in a hospital. I've never taken a medication outside of an antibiotic my whole life. I wasn't sick. I didn't have problems sleeping. I didn't have any of that. I was, just heavy.
Right.
you know,
Well, and I
and
mean,
so,
the thing is that people think that being overweight is causation for disease, and it's not
yeah,
true,
yeah,
right? Being obese is a symptom, just like having diabetes is a symptom, but it's not the disease, right? And so, yeah, there's no correlation between being heavy or being skinny, and you can be skinny and dying,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
can be heavy and not be so bad off. Those are things that can happen. But when you have one symptom of a disease that caused other symptoms, my problem was I was the same way. I was strong heavy, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I worked and I could get away with it. I could carry it, I could lift it, I could do things. And because it didn't take enough away from me fast enough, I didn't take it serious enough. And I wished I would have, because the lymphedema and stuff is hard to deal with now. It's hard to fix. The neuropathy is a slow road, so I know, and it's so tough because I am a hypocrite by saying this. I really am, because I did not listen to other people that are giving the same advice that I'm giving right now to everybody, which is don't let yourself go that far. You're going to
right,
regret it. But because I really want people to find healing before you have to hit a brick wall, because you don't know what the damage is going to be. You don't know if it's going to heal up. You
right.
don't know if you're going to make it out of it. So now's the time. Learn from learn from us idiots up here. Learn from the mistakes that we made, and
Mm.
don't hit the wall before you turn
Well,
around,
for me, it definitely was a knowledge that I didn't know, I didn't understand. I mean, I got this size with some laziness. Like I said, I was a pretty happy fat guy, but it was mostly ignorance, because when I decided that I wanted to try to get this thing going the right direction, I put on a lot more weight because I was eating fruit and vegetables. I was eating granola every day for breakfast, and throughout all the fatty meats and stuff like that. Started eating chicken breasts and fish and stuff like that. So I was putting on weight during all of that. I'm just like, I can't understand it. It makes perfect sense when now that I understand metabolic health, it makes perfect sense why I was putting on the weight, because I was pounding 100 carbs for breakfast. I mean, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
again, I didn't know what I know now. So now that I have the knowledge, and again, my approach is different. If you come to my channel, you guys know that, and all the haters, go ahead and get your guns out and you load up so you can shoot at me. But I just live my life. I don't do any of the crazy things that my brother Todd does, the challenges and stuff. I'm all for it. I'm not against it. God bless everybody that's doing that stuff. I encourage them, the fasting and all that. I just have, changed my diet and continue to live my normal life the way I always have. I'm down 50 pounds. And it's funny because I joke about it all the time. I do everything wrong. That I snack, I eat late at night, I do things that you're quote unquote not supposed to do. I haven't really changed how I eat as much as I've changed what I eat. And I'm still down, 50 pounds. I'm still living my best life. I got tons of non-scale victories in that. So if I ever get my head on straight and start doing this the right way,
Right?
the sky's the limit. And I
Well,
continue to tweak and continue to work at it and continue to tweak little things and change little things. I've talked about that stuff, and we'll continue to move, groove, and steadily improve, baby. That's what we do.
for sure. Well, and I know, because how long have you been keto?
Well, and that's another thing too. I consider myself carnivore, but I'm not trying to start a fight.
I
I would maybe call myself a dirty carnivore. I don't eat vegetables, but I do season with them a little bit. I mean, to me, and again, haters, get your guns out, ready, aim. If I make a big thick ribeye and I take some butter and I grill a few little onions and mushrooms with it, that doesn't to me make me keto. Now if I have a big salad with it, or if I make a big pot of vegetables with it or something, that's maybe ketovore, that kind of thing. But I don't have any vegetables in my house other than a few onions and peppers I put in my ground beef. that kind of stuff. I don't eat vegetables. I don't eat fruit. I don't eat that stuff. But to answer your question, I started. Um, uh, I would officially, if you really want to say, I would say in like May of last year. But I was definitely like ketovore then. I ate lettuce and tomatoes every day. I ate vegetables, fairly regularly.
You're being called out, Russ.
That's my brother Bob. OH, that's my man. That's my man, semi-retired Bob. That's my Buckeye brother. But yeah, there's no carnivore police that's gonna kick in your door and knock the steak out of your hand if I happen to grill a few onions and stuff like that. But since May, I would say really that's when I got in ketosis. But at that time, I would consider myself ketovore. It wasn't until probably August or September that I would consider myself, like I said, where I stopped eating vegetables, no more lettuce and tomato, no more. I threw out my guacamole and some things. I still eat a little bit of salsa, but that's really it in terms of. I never liked fruit. That's the thing about fruit was not a problem for me. I don't like any fruit. The only fruit that I would pay my hard-earned money to buy is a tomato. Any other fruit, I'm not interested in it. I used to, coming up, I had, the Southern influence, the whole, how we do if you, have that Southern influence in your life. But we had the cobblers and all that stuff, and I used to get my mom, my sisters and stuff would get mad at me because I would scrape all the fruit off of it and just eat the crust and the part, the sugary, buttery, part of it. And so there'd be this like a big pile of peaches or blackberry or whatever cobbler in there, and they going, who ate all the crust and didn't eat any of the fruit? That was me. It's one of a million things I got in trouble for. But so fruit was easy for me, but I ate it, man. I used to pound fruit bowls and stuff because they told you that you need it.
They told you it was good for you. Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables. And so I was pounding fruit and stuff thinking, man, I got to have this. And for years, I thought the only reason that I'm not sick and I don't have any problems, I don't have any health problems is because of the fruit and vegetables I eat. That was what I thought. I'm like, thank goodness for these pineapples and grapes, buddy. Otherwise, I'd be 6 feet under. So it was when I figured out that I didn't need that, I was happy. Man, I was so happy. I was like, oh, I don't have to eat this fruit anymore. So yeah, so that's not what gets me. You want to get me? You want to trap me, man? You get your. Oh, this is my girl, Adrian. What's up, Adrian? We went to high school and grade school together. Love you, sis. Good to see you. But man, you want to get me with a trap, like Wile E. Coyote and Bugs Bunny used to do it, man. You set out a bucket of chicken and some mashed potatoes next to it. That's how you get me. That's how you get me. That trap will work. I will walk right past that chocolate cake and jump head first into those mashed potatoes and gravy. I'm telling you, man. So but I want to backtrack. One thing you said about being healthy. I met a guy came to me, the guy I was talking about with the blood work came to me. He's literally about 15 years younger than me and half my size, but I'm metabolically healthier than him.
Yeah.
Everything in his blood work, his glucose, his A1C, his liver numbers, his triglyceride, everything was way higher than me. His ratio of triglycerides to HDL was over 4.
Wow.
Mine is 2.1. I mean, this is a guy literally, like I said, that's 15 years younger than me and half my weight. Guy weighs 240 pounds. So, yes, just because you see somebody that may look a certain way, it's not necessarily an indicator of their metabolic health. And that, to me, is what's important at this stage of the path that I'm on, is getting stronger, getting healthier, and the weight. Man, listen, I've been a big dude my whole life. That is not of any concern to me how much or how fast I lose weight. It's of no concern to me. The only reason I weigh myself is because my followers and my subscribers threaten me with bodily harm if I don't tell them how much I weigh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I weigh myself once a month, and it's simple as that. And I weigh what I weigh. I don't care. I report it, the good, the bad, the ugly. I know that as I get healthier, as I get stronger, the weight will take care of itself. And we don't live on a scale. We live off the scale. You spend 30 seconds on that scale, a week or a day or whatever, and the rest of your life you live out with your friends and your family and your communities and that sort of thing. That's where you live. Focus on that. Focus on getting healthier, getting stronger, getting better. Get all that bull junk out your life, baby. Eat the meat, move your feet, stay away from keto treats.
For sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Although
So, are you feeling better since you started this now?
Oh, of course. Come on, man. Listen, I couldn't when I first started this thing, man, I couldn't stand up long enough to shave. I could barely make it to the end of the driveway to take my trash out.
Right.
Now I make videos, I'm walking up and down the driveway, talking while I'm doing it, and again, it wasn't as big a leap as for some. Again, I was never on oxygen. I never felt depressed or wanted to kill myself or things like that. Although, I had an episode when my Aunt Wanda died where I went through some things, but I never went through depression or those types of things as a result of my weight. That was as a result of a death.
Scott, if you want to hop in here with us, hop on up. We'd be happy to have you, Scott.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a month of Sundays. But yeah, man, my channel, I won't hog up the time. I know there's other people want to come in, but I've admired you guys from afar. Todd's been on the show a few times there. The Keto Cookout. Love to have you guys on if you want to pop on anytime you want. The Keto Cookout, is just for those that don't know me. I'm just a silly, goofy guy. I like to have fun. I like to laugh. I like to crack jokes. And the Keto Cookout is basically just a social hangout. We don't have a topic. We don't get heavy into, the science and the data. We mostly just share our lives. We know what we eat. There's thousands. There's so many channels that you can ask questions and, get doctors and scientists and that kind of stuff. We want to have fun, get to know people maybe on a little different level, more personally, and laugh and joke around. So if you want to come in Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. with my brother Adam Lacey from Carnivore Today, and that's what that's about. We have some depth of knowledge and information too. We have doctors on and things like that as well. But mostly it's just a place for us to come together as a family, just hang out, laugh, enjoy each other's time and company, and just have some fun. I'm always on there doing or saying something ridiculous.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, and I'll be at KetoCon hanging out with you guys. I'll be hanging out.
There?
Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Lindy, listen, you can only hug me 3 times. That's the limit. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. You got to watch out. You just have to run. Eat more meat. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be catching up with you. No worries.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I love those events. I love hanging out with the family. I've been to Keto Palooza. I've been to Keto Orlando and other than Boca, the low carb summit there. It's so awesome to meet people that you talk to through the year on your channels and that kind of stuff, and then to just be around like-minded people, hearing the stories. It's the best. I would encourage anybody, if you can get out to a keto event, by all means do so. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. And
Go, Scott, incoming right now. There it comes.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I encourage anybody to do it. I don't think you'll be sorry at all. Find one near you. I know there are others. Those are the ones that I go to. There's some of the more well-known ones, but there's smaller ones. There's meetups. The community is great.
It is really great community.
Because most all of us have been through something, and that's what makes the community. That's why there's so much joy, there's so much love and happiness and community feeling, because every one of us has been through something. Most of us to get here. Very few people do you meet in the community who just were pretty healthy but wanted to maybe improve or whatever. No, most people get to this place through sickness, through pain, through suffering, all of it. So, man, when they get through that and they get to the other side of it, or even when they're in it and they can see a way out of it,
Right.
it just brings so much joy, man. And they've got that joy in their heart, and it's nothing but smiles and laughter. And there's some tears too, but it's tears of joy.
Right.
It's tears of joy because, like I said, man, when you're in a dark, there's nothing but darkness, that little bit of ray of light, man.
That's all that keeps you going. Yep.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I see it's Michael. Does anybody call you Mike? You like to be called Mike, or is that not?
Doesn't matter.
Are you sure? Because some people don't like that, and I don't want to be listen, I don't want to be that guy, but like that's so big came on
As long
here.
as you don't call me Todd or Kip or
This is Big Daddy McStreams over here.
No, man, it's like, I offend lots of people, but I don't ever do it intentionally. Never on purpose. Never on purpose, man. Sometimes the jokes get away from me, man. They get out of control. I was hey, listen, I saw the picture of you as a kid there, Todd, and I was just, my first question was, tell me about the transition. But I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that was appropriate.
Yeah. Michael, can you post it? For some reason, Scott's not seeing the link when I'm posting it.
Okay. Let me see.
I don't know why he's
I'm not sure where he's coming in from.
Where are you coming in from, Scott? Are you on Lindy's channel or Mike McStream's channel?
Let's see.
Are you on Buckeye?
I think he's on Russ's. Yeah, I think he's on Russ's. We go over there and
yeah, I would just click the. You sent him. Did he click the chat in the link, or the link in the chat, or did he?
Yeah, he's on Russ's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Can you come over? Because for some reason our chat
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Never mind. Michael's on it. Michael is the man.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike.
Here you go, Sarah.
I saw that little picture of you, man. And I didn't think it was. I didn't know if it was appropriate to ask you when you transitioned, but I don't. I don't.
I know. It's just something we got to deal with. Hey, I was born pretty. What do you want me to say about it?
That's where I get in trouble. See, if I ask that question and then my stream goes dark, see that I know I went too far.
It's no hold barred here. I'm not shy.
I know. Listen, we're friends. We're good enough friends that I can say that to you, and I know you're good with it. So yeah, man. That's the only way I would say that to you, brother.
I appreciate it. What's going on, Scott?
Hi, Scotty.
Hey, Scott.
I'm busy trying to figure out how to get my lighting right. I rearranged my studio, and now everything is different.
I would say turn them on. That'd be my first thought.
You're a funny guy.
I am. Hey, listen, I've been accused of that. Funny looking.
Yeah, that too, perhaps, but no, it's all good. We're just trying to get comfortable, trying to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. You know the routine.
I understand, man. I understand, man. You take all the time. Hey, doing good, man. Haven't seen you. I love Keto Cookout and Russ. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you, man. That's one of my low carb ladies, one of my keto cuties out there. I appreciate you, sis. If I ran into you, get a zillion hugs. Warning in advance. Yes, I had to take a restraining order against Rachel, the two crazy ketos. She hugged me like 17 times in like a 15-minute period. I had to call the keto police there and get a restraining order. Shout out to my girl Rachel and Joe. But yes, I love the family, man. And I love all the love I get. I'm so thankful and grateful. I don't know that I'll ever get used to it, but I'm just grateful and thankful that people like what I do. And whenever I go to the events, they always show me lots of love. And just I can't get 2 feet off the elevator, before somebody's like, Buckeye, and I'm just like, wow. But I'm just grateful and thankful. People like what I do and try to bring some joy to their lives a little bit. That's all I do.
Best thing you can do.
Absolutely, man. Just There's enough stuff in this life. We just got to laugh at it, you know? We
Yeah,
gotta
man.
laugh at the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah.
All
So where
right,
you been
Glenn's,
hiding, man? I haven't seen you for a while.
Well, the honest answer is I fell off the proverbial wagon so far I couldn't find a wagon rut to find a wagon wheel to get back up on.
Really?
Oh yeah, I hit Halloween doing pretty well, and then I got a couple of little miniature candy bars in me, and a couple candy bars ended up being a quart of eggnog, ended up being a fruit cake, ended up being everything I could find, and and then it became New Year's. I didn't want to be a New Year's resolution guy, so I said, let it go for a little bit. Then I started tuning up in January, tuning up even more in February, and then I thought, fighting that age-old YouTube issue of chasing likes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then allowing my perception of YouTube and interactions to govern my joy, and that's never good.
Don't do that.
Right. And so I said, okay, back away for a minute. I backed away, and I said, okay, I'm ready to go back. And I looked at my little YouTube studio, and I said, ooh, I'm only 104 people away from, meeting that 500 mark. I got thousands of hours. We'll let that take care of itself. But yeah, so that's about a week ago, I started coming out more often, hitting some things. I pop up a bunch of lives. I like doing lives better than anything else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think, and then I'm fighting a I don't know. I'm trying to formulate a fundamental shift within our community and the YouTube community. And that is, I understand that it's important to make great thumbnails and titling and content. I got it. But I would think that if you can gather a group of people who will, I don't know, support each other by logging in and commenting and doing the like stuff, but also just adding like you're doing here, you'll get, if you have 5 people on here for 3 hours, you're going to get 15 watch hours. You're going to reach a lot of people. It doesn't have to be static because people can go back and watch it if they want to. But think of the way they do like a Saturday Night Live or any sitcom. They'll do it once live in front of people, then you can always go watch the reruns, right?
Right.
But we go surfing for something new. Instead, I just want to come back to the people I know, come back to people I see, and just I'll pop in live during the daytime. I've been able to have our friend from South Africa on a couple of times, and
Graham?
Graham on a couple of times, and it's kind of interesting to do it, and that's the format I like, regardless if it generates likes or follows.
For sure.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. I think for my philosophy of this is, people have to figure out why do you have a channel? If you're trying to make money, if you want likes and views and millions of subscribers and all that, great. I don't have a problem with that. That's not why I started my channel. I didn't even want to start a channel, to be honest with you. I'm certainly glad that I did. And I didn't learn about monetization until my channel had been up for almost 3 months. I didn't even know what it was. My channel is and will always be evangelism. That's all I care about. And when I started the channel, I said, man, if I get one person to watch me act a fool on this internet and it changes their life, I'm good. And I've been there, done that. So I'm playing with house money from here on out.
There you go. There you go.
And that's honestly how I look at it, man. This channel is evangelism. I'm out here just trying to share knowledge that I wish I had and plant seeds that will hopefully someday grow. Right. And I don't have any, I wouldn't even know how many subscribers I have except it pops up on my screen when I go to upload a video. That's the only reason I know how many subscribers I have. Otherwise, if I had to go looking for it, I couldn't tell you, because every video I post, everything I do,
Hey,
it's all
Hey,
about
guys.
evangelism. You know, that's my first and foremost reason for being here. So for other people, sometimes I get the impression that that's not it. And that's okay. That's not a criticism. You know, there are people who this is what they do to make a living. So they
Right.
have to sell their product. They have to get their likes and their clicks and their views. They have to keep their numbers up. I get that. God bless them. I'm not, no criticism, no judgment for me, especially if they're doing the work and helping to save and change lives. No criticism for me. Even the different methods. Listen, you know, there's a lot of love in our community, and we get along mostly. But there are some folks out there that don't like me. They email my friends and stuff and tell them they don't think I'm good for the space. I'm too silly, or I don't take it seriously enough, and all this and that. And why do you, people have emailed my friend Adam Lacey, why do you do that show with him? He's not serious, and he's this and he's that. And, so you're going to have those people. My brand of evangelism is different than others. But it takes all types, and you connect with people in different ways. Everybody does. So, you can't be worried about this stuff, but do the work, try to reach people. That's what it's all about.
Well,
I don't know
Somebody
about you,
should
but I
do
started a
that,
channel to make fart jokes, and I'm killing it. So
I did the channel just to have accountability, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I never do anything for myself, and that's obvious because I got to where I'm at. Myself isn't quote unquote the motivating factor. So if I get a group of people that I care about, like I do, it's amazing how much I can care about people when they're online. I mean, people I've never met, but we have shared experiences. And
Made a connection, yeah.
it matters to me what you all say and what you all think and how you all respond. Well, then I got to use that, because I've got to figure out decode the ring, to figure out what combination of efforts are going to make it a long-term lifestyle sustainable thing versus spits and spurts and radical changes, and so that's pretty much for me.
Love it.
absolutely, man. I don't know. I feel like if we just, all that me and Lindy and Michael do is we come on once a week, we have a conversation,
Yeah.
and we're friends and we're in the same boat, and we just talk about the stuff that we're learning and the stuff that's changing our lives. And I think that's all that matters.
And try to help motivate others.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a lot and haven't watched much with DC. I'd be interested in learning more about DC. And
Yeah, you want to give a rundown of your story, DC?
Yeah, I don't know how much time you got, but let me see. I have follicular lymphoma. It's a type of blood cancer. It's a reoccurring type of blood cancer that has no cure. Can only treat, and the more you treat it, the worse it gets, and the more treatment you need. I was stage 4 with just 2 months to live in 2012. Stage 4 again in 2014. I went through 3 years of solid chemotherapy, left me bedridden for 5.5 years. And, but yeah, now I'm remission 9.5 years. September will be 10 years this year. Last January this year was 12 years to the, from since diagnosis. And I'm on 0 medications. I hit the gym 4 or 5 days a week. I do all sorts of stuff there. So, carnivore is working for me.
I do remember now hearing late last year about that, watching a couple of your videos. So thank you for refreshing. It's amazing. You step out of the space for a while, and you got to get reintegrated to a bit. I mean, of course, I remember Russ and Lindy and Todd, because we had some shared first experiences, so to speak. If I remember
Yeah.
correct, Lindy, I think you came on one time, one of the first times.
Yeah, first time on your show. Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love
So I got a question for you all. Maybe you or someone in the esteemed audience. I was thinking I've done a lot of finger sticks and stuff looking for my blood glucose and tracking those things, and listening to things here lately. There's been a resurgent focus on there is a possibility that gluconeogenesis is happening because this onslaught of super loads of protein. When you're in a very low carb or no carb state, you know what I mean? And that might have been one of the things that for me at this point in time is causing a stall, so to speak. I feel good. Go
Actually, I
ahead.
have some interesting information on that. So because this is what I've been struggling with. I've been doing good on composition changes and leaning out and putting on muscle. So there's a little bit in there that's hairy, but I have been working through some things. And me and Michael are right now doing a high fat. We way bumped up our fat and brought our protein down. But the reason why I did that was I was talking to a guy and he had a very wise thing that he told me that really resonated with me. And he said, what's funny that happens to new carnivores is that when they first start carnivore, they're not efficient. Their body's not efficient at making glucose out of protein. The gluconeogenesis process and metabolic pathways in the body is not efficient. He said, but what happens to them is, especially if they're like, if you're really insulin resistant or if you have any kind of lymphatic problems in your body, like if you have any compromised lymphatic system, he said your body heals and the metabolic pathway for gluconeogenesis actually becomes more efficient as you are a carnivore. And he goes, pretty soon, if you have a compromised if you have like a adrenal fatigue, or if you have like a mitochondrial fatigue or mitochondrial disease, or if you have a compromised lymphatic system, he said that can actually become the path of least resistance to gluconeogenesis, and your body can start making it. May become easier for your body to make glucose out of protein than to create ketones and burn fat, because it might have a hard time getting to the stored dietary fat. So I think that's what happened to me, because it was working like gangbusters. And then all of a sudden I stalled out, and then I started having gluconeogenesis. I was getting knocked out of ketosis. I could see the whole thing going through there. So, and this
Me and
seems
Anthony Flees were talking about that last night. Actually, when people get stalled, now what happens is, like you said, when people go first carnivore, or their bodies are still healing, the lymphatic system is not 100%, then you're going to get that. It's very difficult to eat too much protein, for example, but when your body's not used to, because a lot of us, or a lot of people, such as yourself, are also very sedentary, all right? So your body's just not used to using proteins as much, so it's not absorbing as much, and you get that gluconeogenesis sort of stuff happening. But while you are doing this, if you have a store, if you what you can do is change your timing, your meal timing, and add exercise, add activity. As you add activity, your body will start using more protein. Okay. So
absolutely.
this is something you need to build up to, though. So, at first, like if you go on a high fat diet, this is going to heal your lymphatic system. Okay. So, and even when you do start increasing your proteins, it's good to stay on a high fat. I mean, you just need to eat a lot of food, full stop. When you're on carnivore, you need to eat a lot of fat and a lot of protein. Now, that the protein content will depend on your activity level. So if you heal your work on healing your body first, okay, focus on the fats and slowly increase your protein as you increase your activity, your body will use it much more efficiently as you get more active. So
Yeah.
even if you just go for a walk, do something a little bit extra each week or each month, okay, your body will soon start adapting to the protein content of your diet. Okay. And then you get rid of your stall.
I think that might be where my challenge is I'm perfecting. I'm working hard to perfect the art of being sedentary and retired, and not do too much of anything. But I remember when I was going really hard, or not hard, very dedicated to a carnivore in the summertime. I was in a 24-hour state of cramp and dizziness, right? And I was pumping down the electrolytes. I was doing everything. And
I don't think that's an electrolyte problem. I think that's an under-eating problem.
Well, I don't have a problem putting away the groceries. I was doing pretty good on the calories. My challenge is, I suspect, is I'm 6'5", and I normally carry about 200 pounds of lean mass. I weigh about 310. So I'm not like super out of the spectrum, so to speak, but I am super out of the spectrum condition wise. So when I eat, and if I eat the requisite 200 plus grams of protein today, I'm just miserably bloated. So I think perhaps I have like everybody, we have a lot of different things going on. And one of the things that has to heal for me perhaps is gastric acid strengths, my gut in general, and I know I need to add the exercise, but I'm gonna tell you, I have such a serious mental block saying no to exercise.
Yeah, a lot of people do. You convince yourself that you can't do these things and that you don't want to. Self-talk is really important. Like when people, for example, when people are in the gym and they say, okay, I want to do 10 reps, for example, this is just an example. I want to do 10 reps of a certain exercise. When they get to 8 or 9, they start to feel, oh, this is getting difficult. It's getting difficult. And they stop at 10 because they told themselves that.
Right.
If you said like the same way, if you say, okay, I want 20 reps, even if you don't get to 20, you might get 15 or 16, right? So you convince yourself that you can't do this, you can't go that far, or you can't do as much when you really can. So this is one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's one thing about mental blocks will stop you from achieving what you really want to do. But what it sounds to me like, how often were you eating when you were getting those dizzy spells and feeling weak like that? How many meals a day?
At least 2 good meals a day, and a third smaller meal. I would try to make sure I add a little bit of time for digestion and things like that in between the meals. And I'd start off the day maybe 5-6 eggs, 4 or 5 pieces of bacon, and whatever other piece of leftover meat I had from the day before, and then go on the day and then go eat a pound of hamburger or a pound of chicken, something like that. I like butter. I have to. I'll be honest here. I am officially a butter abuser. I can easily eat a stick or 2 a day just off the stick. Half a pound a day. But I think there's a lot. Also, this is the other thing I found out the hard way. I was selling my plasma. I don't know if you've ever done that. Go sell my plasma to make a little extra, spending cash. And they always tested my iron. I was always good. I went to my doctor, and my iron, my ferritin and everything was through the floor. It was horrifically low. And I said, okay, I'm going to stop. Because when you do the plasma thing, they take your blood to give it back. But a little bit of it always stays in the bag and in the system, And so I think maybe that was also something impacting me, having a really, almost dangerously low iron levels. And so that might have had something to do with it also.
So how much are you drinking?
1 pound 1 pound of meat though, is that one meal or is that total for the day?
One meal.
One meal. So total for the day.
I probably get about 1.5 pounds of meat a day.
Okay, see, you're 6'5", and how many pounds? 200 and
About 300.
about 300 pounds. Okay, you're eating about the same as me. I'm 200 pounds at 5'6". Okay, you're under eating.
You know, the problem is I'm having a hard time. So I ran into this and I thought the very same thing, right? So I found a way to eat 2 pounds of chicken really quick. Yeah, I cook it up, I bake it, I put it in a blender with the juice, I blend it all up with some water, and I can drink 2 pounds of blended chicken in about 5 minutes, right?
What kind of chicken is it? I mean, is it breasts and wings, or is it?
But no bones, just like breasts and thighs. Just take the whole thing, throw it in the blender.
Yeah, you're wasting your money on chicken breasts. It's just not fatty enough. You need thought.
I did add half a stick of butter into it. You know what I mean?
But even still, honestly, I mean, just one.
You're right.
Problem is that butter doesn't have the nutrients that beef fat has.
That's right. Any ruminant animal fat, beef, lamb, I don't care what it is. Chicken is for if you like it, fine. But I would say dark meat only. Sure, adding the butter is good, but it really bang for the buck. You're better off with ground beef, or something else that way. And then the other thing I learned myself the hard way, that dehydration can also cause glucogenesis if you're not drinking enough. And because when you cannot be in ketosis if you're even mildly dehydrated. Because when the liver senses dehydration, ketogenic diets cause you to lose fluids, and the liver will make more glucose and raise your blood levels to keep you from losing more fluid if it senses you're already dehydrated. And I learned that, and I'll tell you, I wasn't thirsty. People say, "Oh, drink when you're thirsty," this, that, and the other, and I wasn't walking around thirsty, but I was not drinking enough. I upped my fluid intake, and I felt a ton better and got into ketosis much more easy. So everybody's different.
You have to get a balance though too. If you drink too much water, for example, you're flushing out your electrolytes that you get from your food. So there's another thing.
You can drink too little, and you can also drink too much. Dr. Chafee told me to drink a gallon a day, and I was like, that ain't gonna happen. But I was drinking like around 40 ounces a day, or less. And so I upped it to about 64 minimum ounces a day. And I found out through my blood work. That I was dehydrated. So I'm anywhere between 64 and maybe 90 ounces a day of fluid. I make sure, and that works great for me. Sometimes I have to force a little bit of it down, but it definitely helped me. So
we got a question for the group here about hamburger. My problem with hamburger, it is high in fat, but when you cook it, the fat renders down, and I don't do good with rendered fat, so I actually like to replace it with tallow because it's cold, because it goes right out the back door for me. But it is high in fat. How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, rendered fat, your body feels like it doesn't need to break it down, so it just goes straight through your digestive tract. So it depends on where you're at, but if you let it settle and eat it cold, then let the fat settle. That's all good. Or just add
it out of the pan and spread it on the cold burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what. I mean, yes. The short answer to your question is yes. I do it a little bit differently, and I've made a couple cooking videos about it. I make my ground beef in a pot. Usually 85-15 is what I usually do. I make it in a pot. I don't fry it in a skillet. I fry it in the pot, and then I put in actually some salsa in with it. Maybe about like a half a jar of salsa, nothing crazy. Of low carb salsa is about 70 carbs in the whole jar that I do. I use usually half a jar with about 3 or 4 pounds, so it's about 35 carbs. and it's 3 to 4 servings for me, so it fits in well with my staying under 10, 12 carbs a day. And it makes a very nice kind of broth, I guess, like a chili stock to me that I enjoy, and I eat it right up. Sometimes I'll throw a little cheese on there, some sour cream, some different things like that. But I'm kind of a dirty carnivore.
The
The thing you can do is if you make a burger, like I did a video the other day, it's just like one ingredient man burger. I just put like a kilo of ground beef in the fry pan, just squashed it down and cooked it. So like it was about 3 inches thick. So you just cook the outside and make sure it's cooked through. But because it's so thick, most of the fat is actually not going to be rendered. It's going to still stay in the burger itself, and eat it that way.
That's a good
It
idea.
also matters on which fat content burger you buy. I mean, if you buy that 92 lean stuff,
Yeah.
you're already problematic, right? Or you get the 80-20, like, or 85-20, 85-15. But I went to Walmart last week and they had 73-27, and they had 4.5 pound block of it, and it was on sale. So I bought it. It rendered out a lot of fat when I cooked it, right? But what I did is I just poured that fat off to use later to slather on, or to, on other things. And like the other day, the wife made chicken nuggets, and she makes her own chicken nuggets. She uses a Swanson canned chicken, big can of chicken, 1 egg, and a handful of cheese. She mixes it together and forms it into a nugget and bakes it, right? And I mean, so you got the cheese in there, you got the egg in there, you got the chicken, and then I put a half a tablespoon or full teaspoon plus butter pat on a little slice of Swiss cheese, and I let the chicken nuggets cool down, and so then I got in the butter, the cheese, and the homemade chicken nugget, and so that was quite flavorful. I really liked it.
Nice.
It sounds good. I don't know why, but dairy, cheese, and chicken are both stalling foods for me. I don't do good on either one of those.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
can you
mean,
guys hear my
some
phone
people just
working?
can't tolerate dairy.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people.
And most people that can, it's a condition that people actually build up over a lifetime. We tolerate dairy, and when you think about it, we're the only species in the world once weaned off of milk that continue to eat dairy.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a carnivore treat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And let's see, we got another question for DC.
Please explain benefits and dangers of overcooking meat for health protection. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if you get a lot of people like beef rare or any kind of meat rare, but there are good benefits, like glutamine, for example, is really beneficial for the body. And if you overcook the meat, then you're cooking out all the glutamine, for example. Why you might want to do that is if you are going through cancer treatments, for example, myself, you want to suppress glutamine and what's the other one? Sugar. They feed cancer. Okay, they don't cause it, but they do feed it. So you can get the same benefits out of cooking your meat well done as you can out of fasting. Okay, you get the same result. Your body will react the same way. So you suppress the glutamine, and you get the same results as fasting if you cook your meat well done. But as I said, if you're not doing any sort of cancer treatment or anything like that, eat it as rare as you want. And glutamine is actually really good for you for many reasons. There are a lot of other benefits too, like electrolytes. You get a lot of electrolytes from the rarer it is, the more electrolytes you get. And obviously, the more you cook it, the less electrolytes you get out of your food as well. But there are other methods of getting it as well. So, like salt is a great electrolyte. and calcium and potassium and things like that. So that's another thing, is the more you cook it, the less of those electrolytes, including calcium and some of your water soluble vitamins, like vitamin C, for example. You'll also get less of them as well. Okay, so it depends on what your goal is and what your preference is. Okay, if you want to supplement or not. I don't supplement, and I don't always cook my meat well done, but more often than not, because it suppresses glutamine. So it's up to you, really.
Congratulations, BK. That's a huge accomplishment, man.
Well, I can speak for, I think, the dangers of undercooking meat are E. coli, salmonella, gastrointestinal disorder, and death. Thank you and good night.
And it depends on the meat too and how fresh it is. But yeah, never ever. I mean, I just avoid chicken
Don't eat
myself.
roadkill.
Yeah, don't eat roadkill.
Yes.
I avoid chicken at all costs at the moment because you can't get clean chicken anyway. But fish, I love, and I don't get to eat a lot of fish here. But like in Japan, we ate a lot of fish raw, and you get a lot of benefits from the raw fish, a lot of omega-3s and so on.
I like
and that's another, and that's another thing is when you do overcook the meat, even your fat soluble vitamins you do get less of. So it's up to you really what you want to do.
Hey, we call raw fish bait where I'm from.
Sandra says I drink too much water. It's an old habit. I'm struggling to cut it back or take electrolytes. Sandra, I got to tell you that I was drinking 2 gallons, 2.5 gallons of water a day, and I knew it was too much, but I was doing that too. And since I've been eating 2 grams of fat to 1 gram of protein ratio, for whatever reason that shut down on me. I have not, I'm drinking I don't know, maybe less than 1/2 gallon of water a day now. It's really weird.
Well, you're like a camel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. When I was young and athletic and playing sports and stuff, the coaches used to always tell you, if you wait till you're thirsty, it's too late. Don't drink when you're thirsty. And thinking about it, when I was playing this, I did have issues like I would cramp up and stuff like that, late in games and things like that. And I always had a problem hydrating. I just, I wasn't thirsty or whatever. And the coaches or the trainers were like, drink, drink, drink. If you're thirsty and you get thirsty, it's going to be a problem. And so I had to kind of learn that. But just all through my life, it's been a thing. I'm just not, I guess, a naturally thirsty person. And I do kind of have to force myself to drink.
I know this guy. Scott wants to know what are your thoughts on raw egg yolks? Yes.
C, salmonella, E. coli, and death. Thank you and good night.
But if you're eating pasteurized eggs, it's like 1 in 100,000 chance for any of that to happen. So, if you're getting your eggs from a good source, but I know that Lindy and Todd, you did steak and butter gang priming and did lots of cooked eggs. And, the other day I like raw eggs. I mean, if I could get my egg cooked and I can keep the egg yolk runny, right? I don't want the raw white. No raw white going in my world anymore. I used to drink them, but I'm not anymore. But the Avidin and all that stuff, wasn't working well. But there's just so much nutrition in an egg yolk, And sometimes I just like to crack 4 eggs and take the yolks and I'll mix a little either salt or something in it and shake it up and drink it down. I'm thinking I'm getting all the essential amino acids I absolutely need and my essential fatty acids pretty much from that.
Yeah, well, I do raw egg yolks. Yeah, I do raw egg yolks too. I have for the last 2 years and I'm still here. I love them. 2 raw eggs with my steak. I just salt it and it literally turns into like a mayonnaise. And I just dip my steak bits in and beautiful. So I'm with you there. And I was at my daughter's the other day. Oh, sorry. And she actually gave the egg whites to the dog, mixed it up in her dog food,
Oh wow,
and she chowed down. She loved it.
that's awesome.
So yeah, doesn't do it every day, but every now and then she'll give her the egg whites, and she loves it. So
I think it's important to make sure the eggs are fresh.
yeah, I get
But yeah,
them.
get the egg yolks are fantastic, like dipping sauce for your steak.
Yeah.
I had 3,600 raw eggs in 90 days at the end of last year doing a testosterone boost challenge, and I'm still here. I didn't get salmonella, and I ate 3,600 of them, and that's no joke. I did. I was averaging about 40 yolks a day because I was trying to keep 36 eggs down a day, but it was not happening. So I started doing 45 egg yolks a day instead. Instead of 36 full eggs, just doing 45 yolks. And that was in 3 meals. I was doing 12 eggs per meal, but then I started doing 15 yolks. And I did that for 90 days, and it was roughly 3,600 egg yolks, and I didn't get salmonella.
But how is that for a priming? Because I understand y'all did that to not only just do the testosterone thing, but to get the body somehow or another excited about this excess amount of highly required fatty acids.
It was, and it worked fantastic for me because I went to barely being able to eat like 1.5 pounds of beef a day to being able to eat 7 pounds of beef a day. I went from, no joke, I ate 37 pounds of beef in 4 days one time when I was doing this. It was my body wanted it, and I went from taking 7 to 9 hours to process like 1 pound of meat. And I could process 3 pounds of meat in 3 hours after that. It would be completely out of my stomach, like empty. And when I started doing that, I went down 2 shirt sizes. I went up 21 pounds in that 90 days, but I went down 2 shirt sizes and I built a ton of muscle, and all of a sudden my back didn't hurt. I could stand much longer, like I could walk and stand and run and do things where I had a limit on that before. So I built up a ton of muscle. So it was super healing. And I started growing freaking hair back that I lost when I was 18 years old. No joke.
And he earned the title of King Kong Carnivore.
Exactly.
Yeah, show him the belt, brother. Show him the belt.
Here, I'll show you. I'll show you a picture of my last ribeye haul that was a normal occurrence. Let's see. Let me put this up here.
Yeah, that's good proof that you just it's nothing to do with calories, and it's all about nutrients.
Right.
Yes, that's what you call lunchtime at the Bachman's house.
Exactly. That's just a normal Tuesday.
Yeah. Hey, I've been thinking. I think I might try that raw egg thing. Here, you stay with me here. I'm gonna get some raw eggs, some heavy cream, some stevia, some rum. And then I'm gonna try that. What do you guys think? Is that carnivore?
Just don't do the raw egg yolk. Don't do the don't separate your eggs. Just do the yolks.
Just the yolks.
Yeah.
I
cut out the rum and stevia and the cream, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, no raw meat there, Crystal.
Oh,
No, I don't need it raw. Rare, but not raw.
No,
There's calcium.
I don't find any benefit to eating it raw at all.
no.
There's calcium in meat. And in
Yeah,
eggs.
of course.
Oh yeah.
And also, isn't it something about if you're eating, there's not a ton of calcium, but there is enough calcium, and you're not burning through the calcium in your bones when you're fully, fully.
Well, the thing is too, like your bones are not made up of calcium. Okay, there is a little bit of calcium in it. Your bones are made up of collagen.
Collagen proteins.
Collagen proteins. Okay, to have strong bones, okay, your bones should be flexible. Okay, so that they can withstand like a fall or a jump or anything like that, like a cat's bones. Okay, so collagen is what you should be worried about, not calcium so much. And the little amount that you get of calcium in meat and everything else that you might want to eat is plenty for the body. It really is. Your body also produces calcium every time when you have a muscle contraction, it produces calcium to release that contraction afterwards. So your body actually produces calcium as well. Okay.
Yeah, Crystal. So priming basically is a system, it's good for brand new carnivores that need to get over sugar addiction, carb addiction, any kind of eating disorders. But it's also good for anybody, I didn't know it because I was 700 pounds, and the idea of a 700-pound person being malnourished seemed ridiculous to me, right? You wouldn't think that that's the case. But as a matter of fact, it is the case because I was eating highly processed, super palatable junk sugar and from sodas. And that was just, that was putting on the fat, but it was not the nutrients. So priming is a way of basically fulfilling your body's deficit of nutrition that it needs so that so you can start healing tissue. And so you put aside the weight loss for a minute and you just concentrate on healing so that your body can deal with the weight. And so you heal up your tissue, you heal up your mitochondria, you heal up your hormones, your testosterone, and you just heal the body through eating. And that also in turn ramps up your metabolism so that your metabolism's not tanked, so that when you are doing things like fasting or you start to crank down your your fat and protein intake, then your body starts really reaching out and grabbing from those stored fats once the mitochondria metabolic pathways are kind of reestablished and healed up, and it works very, very well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Todd, people are so obsessed, they're worried about calories and eating too much and all that sort of garbage that they're too scared to eat enough food to heal their bodies. And when you go into carnivore, you've spent a lifetime. The reason why, so we all have metabolic problems. Okay, like Todd, his size, and everyone else. Okay, is because the damage that your body is just not working properly. It needs an enormous amount of nutrients to help recover the proper function of your body, of your systems, your lymphatic system, your endocrine system, and everything else that goes into your hormone production and moving, basically just moving your body around. So I think like that we were talking about this last night with Anthony. They when they put someone onto a new diet, they tend to stagger their diet a bit. So they'll, like, 1 week they'll eat as much as they can, and the next week they'll bring it down to their bare limit, and then the next week they'll try and force feed them again, and just you can stagger your weeks just like that, and that will help get that'll help focus your body's nutrients onto repairing the damage that you've done over the lifetime of eating junk food. Okay, and once it's healed, then your body will go into like overdrive, just because it's working so well, it'll burn fat really quickly.
I agree.
I got a lot to burn.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot to heal first.
Yeah, that depends on your definition of a lot.
Yeah. But the first thing you should be focusing on is healing the body so that it can move the fat. Okay, so I think too many people go on the carnivore diet, for example, and like the first couple of weeks, I'm not losing fat. What's wrong? I'm not losing weight. The first thing you have to do is focus on healing your body, and then let the body do its job. Okay, because it knows how to do it. It knows what to do. You just have to give it the right nutrients to heal first, and then everything else will follow.
Sure, and that's why the calorie in, calorie out thermodynamic hypothesis is bullshit. Because
it's complete bogus.
Yeah, well, it just makes me mad because that lie, that propaganda has put so many people in a prison. This stupid thing, and it's just built to completely tell them.
That has killed billions of people. Okay,
absolutely. And it just makes you so mad because I bought into it to the point that I was suicidal because it wouldn't work.
We all did. Yeah, we all bought into it. You know, I'm a strength coach. You know, like at university, that's what they taught us. It's all about calories. My lecturers, you know, we would argue about this all the time, like, you know, the best source of food and all this sort of stuff. And all my lecturers would all be the same. Yeah, like it's all about calories. It's all about calories in and out. If that was the case, I could eat ice cream all damn day. You know, there would be no problem. I'd have no health issues. You know, I'd be as healthy and strong as anyone else. But you know, I could eat ice cream all damn day. It's
Well, I owned an ice
absolute
cream shop, and
bullshit.
I can tell you that didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000 calories of Snicker bars is not the same as 3,000 calories of scrambled eggs.
Amen.
Exactly.
And congratulations, Sandra. Definitely lean into that as my, my advice, because I had to even talk myself into that, even doing carnivore, because when I started craving more meat, because I was getting healthier, my body wanted it, and I was moving more. I didn't do that, and it actually slowed down my metabolism, and I should have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely lean
Yeah,
into that.
when your body is craving meat, you have to listen to it, because what it's actually craving is the nutrients that you get from the meat. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to say it too, because we're so used to craving a taste and a drug fix that we're worried that it's the thing that we want, and when it's meat, I really had to say that too. I was like, why am I holding back from eating meat? It's not like I'm craving soda still. It's not like I'm craving pizza. I want a steak. So give it the steak. It needs something, or
Because it's expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
I was just saying that I've been on lion diet, so I've only eaten ribeyes for the last 63 days now. And I was like, I'm really happy that I'm doing this high fat, because it brought my I was eating 4 ribeyes a day, now I'm eating 1. And I was like, I was about to have to mortgage my house to keep buying these stupid ribeyes.
Well, I eat that stuff too. I'm changing up though. I'm gonna eat a lot more ground beef. I'm gonna down my bacon intake and up my ground beef intake, and I really kind of stumbled across it. As far as the steaks, I mean, I've done videos on this, and I even sent you a picture, Todd, the other day
Saw that.
of my $6.99 beauties. I only buy steaks when they're on sale. I don't ever, but I started. I just kind of stumbled across it. I began eating some ground beef in the mornings instead of scrambled eggs and bacon, which is what I eat most of the time. I had some scrambled eggs, and I only had a little bit of bacon because I pre-make my stuff ahead. And I had some ground beef, and when I ate that, I stayed fuller longer, and I just kind of felt better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man. So then I made some more, and same kind of thing. I just felt better. I stayed fuller longer, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna up my ground beef and dial down my bacon. I was eating probably easily 3 to 4 pounds of bacon a week. Same thing. I buy it when it's on sale. I try to find a sale when it's on sale, man. I'll buy 10, 20, 30 pounds at a time. They had a sale $4 a pound. I bought like 30 pounds of it, which again is only about a month and a half's worth. But so I'm going to start doing that. For me, it seems to be better, and I can get it at Costco $4 a pound for what I get. Now I know I think in places are a little cheaper, but I do like the 85-15-ish. 73-27 is a little too much for me, but
well, you end up rendering it out, so you have to pick you got to pick on which side of the equation you want to work it. You know what I mean?
But I don't drain it. Like I said, the way I make it, I don't drain off any fat. I throw a little salsa in there, and I drink it, eat it all up. So, but yeah, I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just lending my change.
I bought a cow, and I'm looking forward to taking delivery in about 12 months. I bought a calf like 3 months ago, and I got such a great deal. I think I'm going to end up paying $3.24 a pound processed. So that's for a whole cow, So but it's a smaller breed, so it's going to be pretty good. But I got to wait another year, so maybe I'll try to buy one in between, it's a little older one, and buy one in between. If I'm going to end up eating 5 pounds of meat a day, I'm going to have to buy a cow. I can't afford it otherwise.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm eating more ground beef, and like I said, lamb. I don't know if you have Costco's near you, but Costco makes a great, leg of lamb. That's a boneless leg of lamb. It's only, $4.99 a pound. I eat that. I love that. It's much better than roast to me, and it's the same price. It's actually a little cheaper than a beef roast. So you got to get in where you fit in, and you got to like what you're eating. If you're torturing yourself every day, you ain't going to stick with it.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the thing too. Yeah, people can always complain about variety on carnivore. There's plenty of variety though. I mean, like you don't have to just eat beef. You can eat fish, lamb.
Frog legs,
deer, any kind of meat. There's so many different things you can eat. But I think that actually I was talking just coming back to yesterday's conversation. Another way to do it. I mean, you're gonna have to work out what's best for you. Anyway, what works best for you is going to be different for other people. But an easy way to work it out too is if you give yourself, say, 1 gram of protein per centimeter in height. Okay, that will if you work out that'll work out how much protein you need for the day, and then all you have to do is work out how much fat. And for me, I think you should get at least 70% of your dietary needs, your nutrition, from fat. So that's easy to work out. You've got your protein set out 1 centimeter per 1 gram per centimeter in height is your protein intake. Then you just need to add a bit more for fat. Okay, so you want at least 70% in, for my mind anyway, in fat. Easy. Okay, very easy to work out.
Say that again. So I heard everything, but I mean the fat to protein ratio. Once you figured that out, how much fat to protein did you say?
I eat 70% of my nutrients come from fat. The other 30% from protein.
So
if you work out
1
1 gram per centimeter in height is your protein, and if you take 70% in fat, then you just need to add on top of that.
Right.
Okay.
So when you say 70%, though, that's by calorie, not by volume, right?
No, it's by grams. Like I don't measure. You can't measure calories. Okay, for one, like calorie is a unit of energy. We don't burn energy, and any kind of cut of meat, like you can have like 2 ribeyes next to each other, and they'll give you a different calorie count. Okay, each one. You cannot measure calories. All right, so measure grams in. Okay, so you just work out like.
So you're basically saying for every gram of protein you're eating at 70% fat, that's about 2.2 grams of fat per gram of protein.
Well, it's going to be less in weight because there's more nutrients.
You can't, you do that.
Yeah, there's more nutrients in the fat than there is in the meat, like the protein. Okay, so you just can't. There's going to be a little bit less. So even if you halve that, if you halve that protein amount, that's going to give you more in fat nutrients.
So Todd, I need 100 if I did it that way, I need 195 grams of protein a day for my height because I'm 195 and a half centimeters. If 195 grams of protein is 30% of my caloric intake, then we're saying I need to get 70% from fat, right? So basically 200 times 4 is going to be 800 calories. I'll take 800 calories in protein, and then we just do the algebra to realize I need roughly 2,100 grams maybe of fat.
Right, but you're going backwards. That's not what I meant. So this other people that I talked to about fat protein ratios, what they say is figure out how much protein you need. Mm-hmm. And then they want to be at like 80% fat, 20% protein, but they do it by calories, right? So they figure out, and that, so like right now, I'm eating. I think this is low, but I'm starting. This is my new baseline because I'm trying something new this month to up my fat. So I'm eating 120 grams of protein a day, which I figure is probably a little low. But I'm starting there, and I'm eating 240 grams of fat a day, tallow, basically. Well, I'm kind of deducting what I think is in the ribeye, but also after it renders out, I'm eating 240 grams of fat and 120 grams of protein. And that works out to be something like 80% fat if you do the calorie matrix.
Yeah. Yes, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Feeling fantastic.
yeah, they told me there'd be no math on this live stream. I can't. can't possibly.
I'm the
listen,
same. I just eat.
Pop quiz.
For all of those out there that are D students like me, okay, just eat the meat, move your feet, stay away from keto treats. That's all I can tell you. That's what they said. Let me sum up all of that for you in a little song. You gotta eat that meat, gotta move your feet. You can eat that meat, move your feet, stay away from keto treats. There you go.
Very good.
Michael Jackson for you back in the day.
But like you're saying, they Todd, like 120 grams of protein, like that's going to be like how much steak are you actually eating? Like
675 grams of ribeye.
so that's going to be a lot of food still.
Oh, it is a bunch. Yeah, it's a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
I
you got
invite you to try
the
to eat
200
200 grams of protein every day. I invite you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because you can't.
I shivered to tell you what I was eating in protein just about a week ago. I hit 400 grams on some days. I was nailing that stuff. I was going for it.
Yeah.
I've never measured anything other than carbohydrate. I'm not. Listen. I hope to someday get to where you guys are to be advanced like all that and all that stuff. My IQ is way too low for any of that.
Russ, my hair is growing back. My hair's on the line, Russ. I can need a comb again if I do this right. All right. I'm putting in the work, baby. I need some hair.
Isn't it amazing what we value?
Yes. Listen. Tuesday night, you won't see any of this. This is less than a week's growth, man. I could grow a full afro in like 2 weeks. I'm telling you. So
you're a lucky man.
I wish my hair was.
I can't out of my ear or on my back, but that's it.
Yeah, I wish my hair would stop growing.
Again, these are nutrient deficiencies. Like that's why Todd's hair is growing back because these are nutrient deficiencies. Yeah, mostly speaking. Yeah, generally speaking.
Oh, shout out to Frankie.
That's a good way to do it. But I like the way you're doing it. So just keep doing that. You feel good, yeah.
I feel fantastic right now. And I don't know that it means anything, but I put up the highest ketone readings I've ever put up on this high fat. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good then. So
that's good.
Yeah, I love that, man. You know how you feel, and you know the changes that are going on in your life and your body and your weight, this stuff. And again, there's levels to it. Todd's been doing this a lot longer than me. Other people are doing a lot longer. And when you get to a certain point, I do think that your priorities and your concerns and stuff will shift to where you want to dig deeper and drill deeper. Right now, I'm just trying to make it through the day without ending up in somebody's drive-through. Okay, that's pretty much where I'm at today as far as my path. But other people that are further along the path, they can get into all that breaking down food by the molecule and all that stuff, man. Listen, when I'm hungry, I've got a list of things. This is what I eat, and that's it's what it is. Oh, you gotta go, Scott?
Yeah, I got to roll. Old man, got to get his Geritol in and get going. You know what I mean?
I got you, brother.
I appreciate you hanging out with us, and definitely come back anytime.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank
Thank you for letting
Scott.
me. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Good to see you again, brother. Good to see you.
You too, Russ.
See you,
Bye-bye.
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 Thanks.
Yeah, glad
Question:
to see
is there
you.
a difference between pork and cow fat?
Yes, one comes from a pig and one comes from a cow.
Very simply, yeah.
I don't know.
Can't argue with that.
And I'm sure that everybody's different, but I just like I like putting pork shoulders and stuff and rendering it down, but the bacon grease, the pig fat, I don't feel near as good as I do on beef fat for some reason.
Yeah, there is power. I listen. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a guy from Ohio. But there is power in ruminant animals and the nutrition and the meat and the fat that comes from it. It's just not the same. I like bacon. That's really about the only pork that I eat, though, because again, it's not very fatty. Much of it, like the chops and the things like that people, that's not super fatty. It's kind of like chicken, but the bacon and stuff is different. But the problem with that is, as Todd explained to me, is like when you fry up a bunch of bacon, most of the fat is at the bottom. If it drains out and you're left with, I guess, what is mostly protein. So even that, it starts out fatty, but by the time you eat it, it's not so fatty. But I do fry my eggs in it and different things like that. But I'm gonna switch that up. I'm going to, like I said, I'm gonna stop eating so much bacon, eat more ground beef, and fry my eggs more in butter as opposed to the bacon grease.
Well, and it's like what DC said. That's a good idea on the hamburger because that doesn't render. If you make it thick, it doesn't render a lot of it out in the inside. But I like my bacon crispy,
Yeah.
I realized that all that dang,
too.
and I'd pull the grease tray out of my air fryer, and all of the bacon fat was in the grease tray.
Yeah.
And that's why I've just really been liking supplementing the tallow with, because that same thing happens with my ribeyes and stuff. I'm sure there's more fat in the ribeyes because they're much thicker, but still, I don't even know how to calculate what is coming off of my steak and when you get a lean steak or not as marbled steak. So this has just been safer for me to do it with the tallow because I can quantify that much easier. And then I don't know, but I take it with Tabasco sauce. I mix it in the tallow because it has the vinegar in it. And every time I mix vinegar and fat together, I feel fantastic. I think it helps it, break it down or something. I don't know why, but that's like a very, very good tool for me, and I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference, like the minerals are in a different proportions on a pig to cow to beef. It also depends on what the pig is eating as well. The source of your food is always important, and usually pigs are raised on grain, okay, especially these days. So that would be the biggest difference, I think. So if you stick to beef, I think you're gonna feel better. But that's just me.
I think you're 100% right, and I think the best thing to do, what I would do is I would get a pack of or we can look it up online. I'm sure 1 pound of ground beef, read the nutritional content, and a pound of pork, ground pork or sausage, read the nutritional content and see what's in it, vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff. And I'd be willing to bet you $1 American. I don't know what that is in Belgium. I don't know what that is in Belgium. But I'd be willing to bet you $1 American that the ground beef has way more nutrition, more nutrient dense than the ground pork.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. I feel even better about my dollar.
It's safe. It's pretty safe.
One of the scientists on our panel co-signed that, then yes, I feel good about
it. Let's see, what kind of vinegar? Apple cider vinegar? Yes, apple cider vinegar is my only one that I use actually, but not Bragg's anymore since Bill Gates ruined it. It's Lighthouse is the one, or what is that called? Hold on, I'll tell you in 1 second.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm a bit of a tangent. I can't wait to see that son of a in a prison somewhere.
Oh, exactly. I was hoping he'd get butt cancer and waste away and go to hell, but that was just my.
I'd rather see it happen slowly, like go to Guantanamo Bay or something.
Oh, I want to see him. I want to see him. His colon end up deteriorating by cancer, and then he puts a cyborg colon in there that's run off of like Windows or something.
It crashes.
Oh my, this stream is suddenly turned hostile.
You can tell we're not fans of
I mean,
Gates.
I just think I heard him wish death upon a man. I don't know that I can support that.
Not a man. He's a lizard. He's like a reptile.
Oh well, if it's lizards, yeah, they're lower on the food chain. They can go.
Exactly. Oh no, this is one I've been getting. It's North Coast organic vinegar. I don't know if you can see that, but I get it at Costco in these 3-packs. And I don't know, it's it's one of those weird things that my body has craved vinegar never before carnivore, but pretty much since about the 5th month of carnivore. And it has never stopped.
You were probably getting a lot of it before carnivore because it's virtually in all sauces. It's in mayonnaise and mustard and hot sauces. And I don't know what you ate before in terms of condiments and things like that, but A1 sauce or I don't know. All that stuff is mostly vinegar.
Yeah.
Sandra, for sure. He is pure evil. And if there's anybody that deserved butt cancer, that's the guy. If there's a reason that butt cancer exists, it's for Bill Gates.
Oh my!
It's just well, the thing is that like these people like Gates and the WEF, the UN, and all the rest of they're parasites. Okay, they create nothing. They just leech off the rest of the population.
I like Windows. Windows is great.
I'm just saying, I hope that his vital organs have to run on it someday to keep his deteriorating, cancer-ridden self alive.
Seriously, honestly, and all jokes aside, which is a very difficult thing for me to do, I might add. All jokes aside, I really believe I choose to believe that most of the people that we see really think they're helping. I say this all the time, and I think you've heard me say it before. We have our doctors. We've got Barry and Chafee and Hampton.
A great deal of them are just useful idiots.
And the people that we listen to. And if Dr. Barry came on here on his channel tomorrow and said, hey, I've been studying this. You need to stop eating thick cut bacon. It's harmful, blah, blah, blah. We would just stop eating it. We would listen. We'd be like, hey, well, I like thick cut bacon, but Dr. Barry says it's not good for us. These people think the same of their doctors as we think of ours. So when their doctor that they trust and that they know and that they look to for their medical advice says to them, meat is harmful or these things, they believe it. And because they have money and power, they're able to push their opinions on people more so than folks like us. But I just refuse to call me pie in the sky Pollyanna. I refuse to think that every person out there who's saying this is he might be the worst thing ever. I don't know the guy. Yeah. But I'm going
to go ahead and crap on that entire thing.
I'm going to go ahead and call you Pollyanna, mate.
I know my father.
Pollyanna.
I know my father is one of those people.
Bill Gates is not that guy. I think there's a lot of people out there, like you said, but Bill Gates specifically, he is a Stalinsky, the ends justify the means.
Right.
And he is an upper class, and whatever he has to do for the greater good is what he's talked himself into. And he thinks that they're an upper class, a more intelligent bunch that is going to go ahead and sacrifice us little people, us little bugs, and go ahead and they're going to do what they're going to. We need to be controlled because we're just a little too stupid and reckless. So he's going to go ahead and control us by owning all the farmland. I mean, tell me what reason he bought up that apple orchard and then sprayed that pesticide on there that you cannot get out, that'll never leave your body, and they know it. They know it. And that's why he ruined apple cider vinegar. And this is just one amongst a million other things that piece of shit's done. Yeah. But there's good people out there, but he is not one of them. There's useful idiots. There's people that think that they're doing good. He thinks that we're a lower class of human being that need geniuses like him in their little elite class, and that it is the ends justify the means. And if he just has to kill a few billion of us little peasants, it's for the greater good. You know,
I
that's
listen-
what
I don't
that
think
is.
it's
I
even
know-
about that. I
I
don't
know
think it's
what
about the
about
greater
the-
good either. Like Gates is just he has no empathy for anyone else around him or
Yeah.
the rest of the world. He has no empathy at all. He has no soul. He's a soulless, classless. He's just pure evil. And there's a lot of people around him that are the same. And the people that follow them are basically, like you said, they think they're doing the right thing because they've got all the information, because they've corrupted all the information. Okay. And these people are just useful idiots. There's a lot of them that are following them. It's, the same with the whole, vegan thing. There are virtue signalers and there are people who think they're doing it for the environment and all that sort of bullshit. But there are those that are pushing it simply because they get paid to push it. People like Gregor and others. Okay, they are just the sons of bitches. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
And they are soulless.
When I look at somebody like Michael Greger, okay, and I guess again, listen, maybe it's just me. I see the good in people a lot of times, but he talks about his mother and how he put his mother on a vegetarian diet and saved her life. He talks about it all the time. So it's hard for me to believe that guy who's got some type of evil, motive would, do that with his mother. I mean, I just think the guy's wrong and he's preaching a message that he believes in just like we do. And we just got to outdata him. We can beat him.
You got to think about, okay, what he actually says and what he actually does. I mean, did he actually show you his mother and show you the results, show you the data? Like he just talks about it. He also talks about these books that he made, like How Not to Die, How Not to Age, and look at him.
Right? Yeah. When I looked at that dude, when he, because you saw the other day, he said peanut M&Ms are healthier than meat, and then you look at that soft freaking pile of turds waddling around. I mean, he's fat, he's weak, he's pasty, he's sickly looking, and he's going to be the arbiter of like health and making declarations. And we all know what all the sugar does. Like, I cannot even believe that we still pretend like sugar is not the biggest. I don't know that there's anything on this planet that's killed more people than sugar. I really don't.
Well, he's against that too. I mean, he's a just your typical. I grew up with them. I mean, I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist church, so I mean, I know hundreds of them. Most of my, believe it or not, much of my family is vegetarian, so I hear it all the time. But again, it's they're not telling you anything that most standard American doctors aren't telling you. So I can't.
Yeah, that's
right. But most standard American doctors are in that realm of good intentions, and they believe that they're doing good. But it's the people that are pushing the agenda that know that's behind it. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what Bill Gates wants.
I tell you the people that I think are the worst are the people the doctors and the scientists that work for these big food manufacturers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Any doctor or scientist that's working for Kellogg's or Hostess and they're putting this stuff out and they're lobbying and they're calling this stuff heart healthy and all this and that. Those to me are they're the worst of the worst because they know better. They're doing the science. They have the data. They are literally
they're all complicit. They are all complicit.
Yeah, that's a whole different. The guy who reads that study and tells his patients about it is not the same level of bad as the guy who made the study and hid the data and all that. I mean, I don't,
I've got a question for Lindy. I think they're trying to slowly gear us out of politics. So they're asking next. They're going to start asking.
Before we go on to that, I just want to add to like people like Grieger and Barnard, for example, they are just pure liars. Okay, they are just the same as the rest of them. So
absolutely.
Do you wish death of colon cancer upon them or not? I was unclear about that part.
No, I'm not. I don't wish anything. What I wish on these people is, for people to wake up to their bullshit. Yeah. That's what I wish on them. because
Oh.
then everyone, the angry people will take care of them.
Yeah.
Also, let me dream, Russ. Let me dream.
Go do some research on what Bill Gates did in Sudan,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or
and
India.
you'll find out what Bill Gates is all about,
And why
and all the
he's
people
never-
that suffered with that.
Yeah.
And
More
that-
aware of
a lot of that information has been removed off the internet. You can't find it no more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
why is
actually,
that
you should-
happening?
There's an Indian doctor who's been speaking out about Bill Gates for a number of years now, since this fake scamdemic started. Go check out what they have to say about Bill Gates, okay, and what he's done to billions of children, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Never heard about that.
Yeah, he's that.
It's because they hide the information that people
Right.
need to hear.
Yeah, he is.
That's the
one-
problem with the internet nowadays. It's everything's hidden.
Censorship.
And the same thing's going to happen with carnivore in a few years. Watch it. You're going to start seeing warning messages underneath.
Exactly.
Lindy, question for you.
Okay, we'll do the question.
What's your feelings on the mini trampoline? Any results with vibration plate? I absolutely love my little rebounder. It's right here behind me on the floor there. And yeah, no, definitely lots of results. It's helping with move my lymphatic fluid around the body. So my feet are no longer swollen. Carnivore's improved it so much. Fasting really helped, but the rebounder does an even better job than all of that put together. So I definitely carnivore plus the rebounder has escalated my carnivore for sure. Yeah, and I'm kind of in a routine now. When I get up, like I'm itching to get on there and have a little bounce. I get up and have a drink. I bounce on it 5 minutes and then come and sit down. So that's my routine. Every time I stand up, I have to bounce before I can sit down and work again. I do have the vibration plate still. It actually broke for good last night. The piece of plastic fell into the mechanics, so it makes a terrible noise. But that does help when I'm working at my desk, because I spend a lot of time on my computer with work. So between the two, I love them both. It really helps with my lymphedema symptoms. And I will be getting a new vibration plate as well, because I need it. But DC, I think he wants your feedback as well.
Yeah, I think they're both great if depending on where you are at. For example, if you are like the trampolines are fantastic if you're strong enough, okay, in the joints and not don't have too much weight on to carry. If for example, if you are where where Lindy was when she started, and she just immediately tried to go on the mini trampoline. Apart from the fact that it wouldn't bounce, it would be a lot of weight. Every time you come down, that extra weight is putting like 3, 4, 5 times more pressure on your joints. Okay. So I don't recommend any kind of plyometric work to a sedentary person. It doesn't matter what their weight is. Until they have strength enough in their joints and muscles. So depending on how heavy you are or how light you are or how sedentary you are. But you can also start these things very lightly as well. You can do like just a mini bounce, just bounce sort of thing, and then build it up. And the vibration plates are great too. If you are stuck like in a chair all day, or you're in bed or something, just not moving very much, that's good. But even better would be to get up and walk. Okay, to move around. If you can walk, that is going to be a much better exercise for you. Okay, so they are good. They are great actually, but there are alternatives, and especially depends on where you are at. I try not to put too much weight on the joints to start with, because it can do a lot of damage. Okay.
I just do a healing bounce. So my feet don't actually leave the mat. It's a very gentle bounce, which is enough to pump the fluid around my body, and I think it puts oxygen into your muscles. And Dr. Berg has a video, I think it's 3 years old, If you just type Dr. Berg rebounder, he talks about NASA doing studies on it, and he puts put all the astronauts on it because they have loss of bone density and
bone
muscle loss.
density and muscle density when they're up in space. Yeah, because when they've been up in space, because they don't have gravity, sometimes if they've been up there long enough, they actually have to be carried out of the out of the ship because they have lost so much bone density and muscle density that they can't even walk. So that's the same thing. Like if you have, and you get the same thing, like if you've been stuck in bed for a number of years, for example, you've got the same problem. Your bone density and muscle density is going to be very low. So it's something you need to build up. And I think I always, like, for example, if you get, like, there's a reason why when you go to a gym, they start you on machines rather than free weights. And I think it's a great way to start because when people tell you to use body weight exercises, a lot of people can't even lift their body weight. So that's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Start very light on machines that are controlled so that you don't put too much stress on your joints. Okay, so I think that, like, when you start any kind of exercise routine, the first thing you should be worried about is structural stability, so joint strengthening before you do anything else. And when it comes to, when you're doing the bouncing, for example, you start to breathe heavier. That's why you get more oxygen into the body. Okay, whenever you start doing any kind of exercise, you start breathing heavier. Like I do breathing exercises in the mornings, and I do sprints on the bike, or I'll go outside and do some sprints. But that heavy breathing, that's what's oxygenating your blood more. Okay, it's not actual the movement. It's just that you're breathing more, and because you are contracting, okay, the muscles, you're pushing that lymphatic fluid around your body. You're going to move all your vitamins, minerals, ketones, and fat, because fat is carried through your lymphatic system in the lymph fluid. So that's how you move fat. Okay.
Lynn from Midlife Carnivore was on our keto cookout last week, and she was talking about it, and she's like, "Oh, I got a rebounder at the house," and I thought she was talking about Dennis Rodman or Charles Barkley or somebody. I'm like, "You got Charles Barkley at the house?"
So I just got this at DC. I've been indoors 10 years. I have a treadmill. I'm loose, skinny, fat. Yeah. Treadmill is good. Walking is good. One way to help strengthen your joints is to walk on a high incline. Okay. That incline will help strengthen your knees and ankles and things like that. Another good thing to do for your joints is balance. Okay, any sort of balance exercises, like, for example, if you just hold onto the wall and just stand on one foot. Okay, this will help strengthen your hips, your back, and it's actually a pretty good core exercise as well, and just get stabilizing exercises for your joints. Then eventually you can move up to like an unbalanced floor. So like, you ever seen those like airfield sort of rubber disc? Okay, you can stand on. Okay, these are unbalanced. Okay, this will help build up balance in your joints. Okay, and then from there you can start doing exercises like doing squats on the balance balance disc. Okay. I would focus on the joints, and then everything else will follow. Strengthen the joints, strengthen the muscles, and then you can do other exercises like squatting, push-ups, and everything else like that. That all comes later. It can be frustrating. I know it's a very slow process, but you'll be surprised eventually you start making very big jumps, and it gets a lot quicker.
Absolutely. No, and I'm kind of doing that now. I'm doing resistance bands and small free weights and kind of building up the joints. And I noticed it's crazy because it makes you, I can tell with balance that my joints are getting better because I end up more just stupid things like I can take bigger steps to the side and still feel in control and balance, you know, where before I would have felt like I was going to lose my
bands
footing.
are fantastic. I still use bands every day, like to warm up any kind of joint, all my joints before I start hitting the gym. But also, you know, for strengthening your joints, bands can be really, really useful because they're so flexible. You can use them on anything, in any direction as well. So it's a really good way to do it.
That's awesome. Man, I appreciate you guys. We have been here for 4 hours and 20 minutes. So we better call it a night before people get sick of looking at us.
Who could possibly get sick of looking at me?
You can take a vote if you want to know the real answer.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Might get Michael to spin that wheel again.
I think Dr. Nelson had a question for me. Yes, the bacon I use has 0 carbohydrates. So I'm guessing it's sugar free. I think all bacon is cured somewhat, isn't it? Sugar, I know what you mean because they do have some maple flavors and different things that are. I don't buy any of that. It's all 0 carb, and you know. He must. When I was talking about getting off of bacon, I think he asked that question.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. We thank
I
you all.
appreciate you lowering your standards, folks, and having me on here. I really do. Lowering the bar for me to come on there. I'm grateful and thankful.
Go subscribe to Homesick Buckeye, please. DC Learning to Live and Carnivore Scott. Those guys are all awesome. And also I saw Brett, who's your carnivore, here in the chat. You guys would go show everybody some love. I'd appreciate it. And we will be back next time in a week. And hopefully you guys aren't tired of us by then. So we appreciate it.
And same time as today.
Same time as today. We're leaving it here. We're not moving around anymore. This is it. We're staying right here.
This is our time slot.
This is our time slot. We are. We done peed on this time slot. We marked our territory. This is it.
Oh my! Oh,
well, we love you guys. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
See everyone.
Thank you. Bye.